there are so many big stories that happened in small places. I think we as rural creators have an opportunity to come out and to tell those stories in the biggest way possible.
Raise your glass to our time together, for every sin holds within it precious times that have led us here today. So smile and laugh and cherish this moment, for all that we hold dear, I am told, may never ever come again.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. For those of you who don't know me, I'm McClure, and I've had the privilege of the last year of working with some marvelous people, digging around into a very dramatic, powerful story about our local identity here. It's the story of our first commercial winery in the state of New York. But it's not just a story of a farmer, okay, who grew grapes, but it's a story of a family that was deeply involved in abolition and in women's rights, and the son goes off to war and fights.
Harlan made beautiful things. He made music and he made wine. And I believe the act of making beautiful things is an act of resistance against the ugliest part of our humanity. Harlan received a big heap of ugliness from the time he joined the 33rd Regiment to his death by suicide. He lived through countless battles, the horrors of war all the way to Appomattox. He lived through the death of his father, his mother, his sister, the death of a Confederate cousin in a prisoner of war camp in Maryland. He was on the receiving end of vicious public attacks by the temperance movement, business betrayals, and the ultimate destruction of his vineyard by the new railroad line coming through near his home and farm. We can only imagine what the pounding of railroad spikes, what the sound of the explosions to break up the rocks necessary to build railroad tracks outside of his bedroom window. We can only imagine what those sounds would have done to a musician or would have done to a veteran who likely had PTSD. Harlan was a maker of beautiful things, and to be part of that beauty, to participate in that beauty, to live in the midst of that beauty, is truly an act of resistance to the ugliest things humans tend to do to each other.
So let's sit down and chat a while. We might learn something new. Go now. Scraps of our lives scattered on the floor. Dreams of our lives and memories forgotten and yours and your thoughts and days. Take me home and rest us
Paper says he was the last of the old-time fiddler callers and lived into his 80s. He was the longest living Civil War veteran in Geneseo. Newspaper comments, they liked Ed Peterson a lot. Edward Garrett Peterson, Old Pete, they called him, playing into the early 1930s.
I really believe in the transparency of the creative process. The notion of an artistic creator to involve people in conversation, to be creating stuff, not in their, studio with the door closed and the shades pulled down, but rather to create things in the street, to be talking to folks, to be part of a larger conversation. I really think that it's an expression of not only the authenticity of the artistic process, but also I think it really shows the artist as a person who's in dialogue with the community, not just an artist who's saying what they want to say. That's perfectly fine, but I think that in terms of these big civic stories, the transparency of this creative process is a great opportunity for us to step forward and to be part of the democratic dialogue.
Oh, those boots didn't fit me when I marched in the war. Down, Terry, down, thou once again. But these tired old feet can still dance on this floor. Down, Terry, down, thou once again. The banjo and fiddle are quiet, and the time is at hand. So bow with me, darling, and we'll dance. Sing that chorus one more time. The banjo and fiddle are quiet, and the time is at hand. So bow with me, darling, and we'll dance again. So bow with me, darling. So bow